On today's Brian Murray Show, we're going to talk about how to protect yourself as a new landlord of a condo unit that you just moved out of. We're going to also talk about what's going on in the Hoboken and Jersey City market and the good, the bad, and ugly Halloween special. So welcome to the Brian Murray Show, a real estate show, New Jersey style. Today's discussion point is about how to protect yourself if you're a new landlord. So if you're a new landlord of a condo unit, you've gotten that status one of two ways. You've actually either just bought something that you never lived in, or you moved out of something and decided to keep it and rent it. So if you just bought something, it's likely that you have bought it and put it in an LLC right up front. It gives you that level of protection. The LLC means limited liability corporation, so it's that limited liability part. Everything I'm saying here, check with your accountant, check with your attorney. I'm neither, and I'm not here to give legal or financial advice. What I am here to say is, as an investor myself and someone who's worked with lots of investors, that the one way to do it is an LLC, right up front, out of the gate. Now, if you've lived in that property, and let's say you're moving to the burbs or a bigger apartment, and you said, Brian, hey, thanks for helping me find that new place. I'm going to keep the old place. Can you help me rent it out? I say, sure, I rent it out for you. Well, you haven't transferred it to an LLC likely, and you would have to check with your bank and your mortgage lender and all those kinds of things about that. So where do you get the protection? Or you may even thinking about the protection because you didn't need it up front. You have your own homeowner's insurance. You're not thinking about other types of protection. So what do? You could transfer it to an LLC. That could take a little bit of time is the problem, and you might have a tenant in there, and now you've got a gap. An LLC takes filing fees every year, paperwork every year, and again, this time gap is the biggest thing. It does provide a level of anonymity going forward as to who owns it. However, another potential way you can get the same kind of coverage or protection is you might consider an umbrella policy. Now, I own property myself in both LLCs and with an umbrella policy, just because it's kind of worked out that way. But an umbrella policy is great because it's super easy. You just call Helen over at Muller Insurance, and she takes care of that. It also covers more than one property. The downside is that the umbrella policy isn't limitless. So if you get just an astronomical policy, you're probably covered, and this way your other assets are protected. I think that anybody who owns a couple of properties and has some other assets, an umbrella policy is a really good idea to look into anyway, because it doesn't take much of a catastrophic event in one of your properties for somebody to sue your pants off. And it might not even be your fault, it might not be the negligence, but would you rather have the courts decide whether or not you went from thinking about retirement to having no money in the bank, or would you rather just get the policy, sign up, and not have to think about it again? And that's what insurance really is. It's for that catastrophic event, so you sleep well at night. So if you are a landlord, especially a newly minted landlord, LLC or umbrella, but I really hope that you have one. This is today's discussion point. Market report for October 20th, 2020. So 2020, or 10/20/2020. I'll give you the numbers first and then some analysis afterwards. So for Hoboken, there are 378 active condos. 50 have come on in the last week and 148 in the last month. Under contracts in the last 30 days was 77. Days on market of those under contract, 33. So they average 33 days to get a contract. Sold in the last 30 days was 79, and the average discount was 2.1%. So I'm going to stop right there and give you some quick analysis of what I see. The big thing that stands out to me is that, so in the last 30 days, 148 condos have come on the market. There's 378 total. That, to me, if I do some quick math, means that there are 230 condos in Hoboken that have been out there for more than 30 days. Here we are at the 20th of the month. I'm not sure exactly what the date of Thanksgiving is. I should have looked that up, but I can tell you that it is the fourth Thursday in November, which means it's not that far away. Typically in a market about 2 weeks before Thanksgiving is where people's minds start to turn to the holidays. This is a COVID year. It might be different, but that's something we're going to talk about. In Jersey City, there are 317 condos on the market, not including some of those big new buildings. There's been 32 of them in the last week and 144 in the last 30 days. So that means there's about 170 plus that have come on, that have been sitting there for more than 30 days. Under contracts in the last 30 days, 62, and the days on market is 46. So almost 2 weeks longer than Hoboken on those under contract. There were 46 sold in the last 30 days, and the discount of 2.1% is identical across the board of both of them. As I predicted before, that Jersey City was a little bit behind Hoboken, so now they're picking up, and you can see that in the numbers. Again, my biggest concern here is that, a little bit about me is that when it gets cold outside, below 50 degrees, I start to put my gloves on and my winter hat, keep my ears warm. Winter's coming. I'm going to get my gloves out probably in the next couple of weeks, and right now, between Jersey City and Hoboken, you have almost 700 condos on the market. Right now, you're looking at 5 to 6 months worth of inventory, a little over 5 months in each of those markets. And that's right now before we get to the winter break. There's going to be a lot of sellers out there that are going to be looking left and looking right and going, what do we do? You have 3 choices if you're a seller. One is you can try to rent it. Rents are down 10 or 15% or more, and try to do that in the winter time. Number 2, you can hold until spring. Maybe you haven't moved and you can ride it through. Or 3, you can discount. You can meet the market where it needs to be in order to get that home sold now, so you can move, or you can take your cash somewhere else. The really good news for sellers in this market is that when the numbers get low enough, investors start to circle. And I'm starting to see that with my investors right now. Interest rates are super low, all-time low, and now that prices are coming down, investors are going to come in and start to look at properties a little bit more diligently. So that's the market here on 10/20/2020. The good, the bad, the ugly. Halloween special. The good. Hey, we're here, October 20th, 21st, 22nd, 25th. There's still time to get a costume. You still have a little time when you're watching this video, hopefully, to get a costume. And if you can't get one for this year, you can certainly front load for next year if you're watching this in November. But that's the good. There's still time to participate. Even just going out and doing something dumb. Amazon's got 1-day shipping. There's time to get a costume. The bad is that, there's costume places like Spirit Halloween, and I don't begrudge them anything, but usually they use empty storefronts. And, this year they're using Modell's in downtown Jersey City as our local Spirit of Halloween, or one of those kind of stores. And it's just very sad to me that, Modell's got to go to Moe's. You don't got to go to Moe's anymore because there is no Moe's. There's going to be a cool Halloween store for about another week, and then it's gone. Maybe there's going to be a Christmas card store or something there for another month, but just really sad that there's no more Moe's to go to. And then the ugly. And the ugly thing is just the really scary. It should be called the good, the bad, and the scary. Is that, right now in New Jersey, we're still at the restaurants are still only at the 25% capacity threshold, and the weather's getting colder. And you just never know. I mean, there's some Halloweens I remember walking around in a t-shirt, and there are other Halloweens where I have my winter coat and my hat and my gloves on. And if that's the case, these restaurants are going to be dead in the water. They're going to be dead, just like Halloween. You're going to see them bleeding money everywhere, and they're going to be corpses come the holidays. And that's kind of tough. Maybe we're not doing holiday parties this year or holiday dinners out and that kind of thing, but these folks, they just won't exist next year when it's time, and I wish there was something we could do about that. So that's the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm going to leave you with a quote here that says, when given an opportunity, wear a costume. And I think that everybody should be wearing a costume this Halloween. So I hope people do submit pictures to my social media, which leads me into my closing, which is a reminder to say thank you so much for watching the Brian Murray Show. I do really, really appreciate it. Every Brian Murray Show episode can be found on my website, themurraypropertygroup.com, in the blog section. You can check out snippets of it on my LinkedIn, on my Instagram, on my Facebook. Please do watch them there. Comment. Please comment. I love comments. I love pictures of your Halloween costumes. Get them out there for me. And if there's anything that you disagree with, please reach out to me directly, and I'll show you why you're wrong. Thanks for watching.